Hi, welcome to another Java tutorial. In this tutorial, we want to write a Java program that's going to determine a leap year. So the user imputes a year and it tells the user if that year is a leap year or not. Now a leap year is basically the year that is divisible by 4 without a remainder. But quickly, there's an exception. Years like continental years, what I mean century, like 2000, 1990, 1800, 700, 1700, those years are not leap year despite the fact that they are divisible by 4. But there's still another exception to that exception. A continental year or a century year that is divisible by 400 is a leap year. So like the year 1990, it's not a leap year, while the year 2000 is a leap year. Now when we run this program, we'll come to see these clarifications. Now let's start. To do that, we'll write our main method, public static void. Remember we're using Java main, and we'll put our argument string args. So now what we want the user to be able to impute the year. So we need a Java utility. Let's import a Java utility here that will allow the user put in an input. So we'll put in Java utility scanner. Let's just import all the whole Java utilities. We'll still be using our scanner object. So now since we've imported that, let's create a scanner object which we will use and call that xy. You can call that any name you want. I will call that our new scanner. Now in this one, we'll pass in our system.input string so that the user can actually put in an input, and that's it. So now we have a scanner object. Let's create a variable which will attach to this scanner object that will hold whatever year or input the user enters. We'll call that let's say int. We'll call that an integer since years are not in decimal, they're always whole numbers. We don't have 2017.1, we just have 2017. So impute int y. That's why I'm declaring it as an integer. That's what that int does. Now let's append this scanner object, this one here, to this variable. So we'll say y equals to xy dot next int, and that does it. So we've append that. Now remember the main goal we want here is to get a leap year, which is what we've done now. We successfully allowed the user to put in an input, but now here the user imputes it without knowing. So let's send a message to the user so he knows when he's to put an input. So we'll use a system.out and we'll just send the message like enter the year. Okay, I think that does that. So now we want to now handle the leap year. The function actually runs and processes the number to know if that year is a leap year or not. Now we'll come outside this and create a boolean sub program, a boolean method. We'll say public boolean, let's call that is leap year. You can name this whatever you want. So we'll say let's put in an int n in this boolean. Now since it's a boolean, it needs a return statement. That is why it's still in red. So we need to return a result. Now in our return result, we say return. What should it return? This is where the program gets a little tricky. Now we want this program to return, it will process this variable n. When it processes it now checks if the year is that variable, which is going to be the year the user enters, if it's divisible by 4. So, and without a remainder, not just divisible by 4, it should be divisible without a remainder. So we'll say n by 4 should be equivalent to 0. This is what we want. I don't know, this you see, I'm using modulus, I'm not using normal division. So n should be divided by 4 without a remainder. So the division of n, which is by 4, should be 0. That handles that one. So but that, as I stated earlier, that's not the only criteria for determining a leap year. we also need to check if it's a continental year, that is if it's a century. So that, and it should also check if n is a century. So how do we know a century should be divisible by 100 without a remainder? Yeah, it should be divisible by 100. The remainder should be 0. So if the year is divisible by 100 and it's 0, you see I'm adding exclamation 0, so it should not be equals to 0. If not, it throws an error, it doesn't run it successfully. That means we know it's a century. But now we also say that a century, or a century, which is a continental year that is also divisible by 400, is also a leap year. So we'll now say or n should also be divisible by 400 and it should be equivalent to 0. So this is what runs the process and gives us if it's a leap year or not. I think this is correct. Now let's come back to our main program, and now what we want to do is we'll use an if then statement to determine when this is true and when it's false. So say if this function here it's a leap year, like this sub program we just wrote, and we'll now attach this y variable, which is going to be the year the user enters. If this is equivalent to true, let's check our function very well. Sorry, so if it's equals to true, what should it do? It should throw a message to the user saying that is a leap year. So we want the user to receive this message. We'll say the year, structure that message, the year, but we don't know the year, so I append this variable y, start space here, and then we'll attach is a leap year. Sorry, spelling is wrong. Good. So now this is what it does when this is true. That means this result here is true, it is a leap year. But if this result is wrong and it's not equals to true, else what it should do should be it sends the same message, but this time around it's not. You just want to add a not. So that's lazy. I'm not trying to type that again. So just space that and say the year is not a leap year. So this is what it does if it's false. I think this program is good to go. Let's run that and see if the result comes out, if it gives us what we want. Alright, so now it says enter the year. Let's put in 2016. The year 2016 is a leap year. You say it brings that. Let's run that again. Test different years. 2017, it's not a leap year. Let's run that again. To 1990, it's not a leap year. Now let's run 2000, it's a leap year. 1991, it's not a leap year. And as many years as you want, you could keep running this. So we've successfully written a program that can determine the leap year for us. Thanks for watching. Any question, you can get back to me.